What's up, guys? Jacob Ober here along with Ryan Wentland of Brewpack, and today we're going to be doing a new debate-style show called Game, Set, Match. And we've got 4 different topics to pick from today, all related to either Wisconsin sports or national sports coverage. Our 4 topics today are going to be on the Packers, the college football playoff, the Lakers, and the Bucks. Our first topic of today, is it realistic for the Green Bay Packers to win out and make the postseason? Ryan, your thoughts?
All right, I think it's realistic, but it's not real. It's realistic to win out, but not realistic to make the playoffs.
For me, I think it's absolutely realistic for the Packers to win out and make the postseason.
All right, so it is realistic to win out because we have the easiest schedule for the rest of football, like out of the NFL. I mean, you got 2-9 Arizona on Sunday, 4-7 Atlanta, 8, and then it gets hard with the Bears at Chicago, 8-3. You have 3-8 Jets, then the 4-7 Lions. So other than the Bears, it's pretty easy right there to win out.
Yeah, I agree with you there, but why do you think that it's not realistic for the Packers to make the playoffs?
They need they need one out, which is somewhat realistic, but they need a lot of help to get in with that.
Yeah, but I mean, that help really isn't that crazy what's going to happen. I mean, we have to have the Eagles lose 1, Washington lose 2, the Panthers lose 2, Seattle or the Vikings lose either 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I can see that given the remaining schedule. I don't have the schedules in front of me, but I mean, the Eagles losing 1, the Eagles are terrible this year. Really bad Super Bowl hangover they had. Washington has a backup quarterback, Colt McCoy. Carolina has been faltering down the stretch in Seattle. They have been playing a lot better, Seattle, but I can still see them losing to the Vikings and the Chiefs. And the Vikings, obviously, they have to go on the road to play the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks, and of course they can always drop one against the Bears in Week 17 as well. So I think that there is a realistic possibility that the Packers make the postseason this year.
Mm-hmm. So it is possible. It's not. I just want to put money on it, is what I'm saying, because it is. You look at the Eagles; they need 1 loss. They can lose to the Rams, obviously, a good Rams team. Yes, Seattle can lose to Minnesota and Kansas City. That's very realistic. Panthers, that's kind of hard. They play the Saints twice. Could easily lose both of those. The Browns are another option on there. They could lose. The Browns are a better team than they look. They lost. They tied a game because they're a kicker. They lost a game because they're a kicker, and then they got completely screwed.
Yeah, I really like Baker Mayfield this year. He's looking really good. He's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league in a few years.
Yeah, so that's another option. So you have 3 options for the Panthers to lose right there, because the Bucks and Atlanta's not looking too hot. And then, like you said, they have Colt McCoy for the Redskins, who's not the worst backup quarterback in the NFL, but he's not.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to go out and
Nick Foles
into the postseason.
Like you look at the Skins schedule, and that's where it's hard, because they have the Eagles, who are just downfalling right now. They have the Giants, who are bad. Jags, who are just lost 7 straight. Tennessee is a possible loss right there, and then again you have the Philadelphia. So they could lose 1 to Philly. I think they lose to Tennessee, but I don't know. And then you look at Minnesota, they need to lose 3 games.
Well, either that or Seattle. Only one of the 2.
But that's very possible too, because they have the Patriots, they have Seattle, and they have Chicago in the last game. Miami and Detroit aren't terrible teams, so it is possible. But like I said, I wouldn't put $100 on it or whatever.
That's fair, but I mean, I feel like some of these things are going to correct themselves. Like, I mean, the Eagles will lose 1, or the Washington will lose 2, you know. I mean, and the Panthers, I mean, I can almost guarantee the Panthers will lose 2. Seattle and the Vikings, to me, are the 2 teams that are up in the air right now. If they lose 2 or 3, it's still up to be decided. But I still like Green Bay's odds. I mean, we saw the 3% chance the Packers have to make the postseason, but I mean, like, I can still see it happening. I really can, and I think it's a better possibility than just 3%. So, and of course, the Packers have one thing that no other team in the NFL has, and that's Aaron Rodgers. And that guy can flip a switch better than anybody in the league. Like, he can go from looking bad to like one of the best in NFL history within a matter of 1 week. So, yeah.
And his bad is still better than 99% of other quarterbacks in NFL history.
His completion percentage this year is only 61.7%, and that's still not that bad. I mean, by Aaron Rodgers standards, that's really bad, but by NFL standards, that's above average.
And 20-1 ratio.
Yeah, exactly, 20-1 touchdown interception ratio.
So yeah, I think it's possible, but I wouldn't go and put my life savings on it.
I think it's going to happen. I think the Packers are going to go 9-6-1 and get the 6th seed and win out and go to the playoffs. All right, so our next topic, does UCF deserve to make the college football playoff if they win their championship game this weekend against Memphis?
I think they do, but I know that they will need help. I know the committee will not let them in if they just win.
If UCF, in my opinion, if UCF wins, I think they do deserve it, but I don't think there's any scenario that sees them actually getting into the college football playoff. I don't think there's any way that they get in, no.
Okay.
So the reason I think that, though, is because you've got, you obviously need Oklahoma, Ohio State, and Georgia all to lose. Georgia's 4, Oklahoma's 5, and Ohio State's 6, obviously. You need all of them to lose in their championship games.
That's semi-realistic, though. The only one that isn't is Ohio State.
Yeah. And, I mean, college football is all about ratings, though. The college football playoff, they want the best ratings possible, and a non-Power 5 team that lost its star quarterback just last week is a hard bet to get in because the college football playoff loves its stars and it loves its blue blood schools. UCF isn't one of those schools, and the fact that they have 4 teams ahead of them and 3 of those teams play, and even if all 3 of those teams lose, you still have Michigan ahead of them. So in my eyes, I think it's more likely that Michigan actually makes the college football playoff if those 3 teams in front of them lose, in my opinion.
All right, so what people are going to say is that UCF does not have a quality win. They do have one quality win, which isn't like what the other teams do, but they have a quality win against Cincinnati. I know it's not an SEC team, top 10 team, but Cincinnati was 23 in the country when they played them, and they didn't just beat them; they beat them by 25, which is I'd consider a quality win at least. Ohio State, even if they win, they lost to Purdue by 29. That's a 6-6 team. They need to win their last game against Indiana. I think they beat them by like 3 to become bowl eligible. That's not good. That's a terrible loss, even if they lost by 1, right? Then you have Oklahoma. Say they lose to Texas, which is very realistic. By the way, I was saying Ohio State would win against Northwestern. That's my prediction. But say Oklahoma loses again to Texas. That's 2 losses to the same team. They give up 100 points a game. I don't know. I like their offense, but their defense would go up 85 to Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
You look at Georgia. They lose to Alabama, like my prediction says. That's 2 losses. They lost to LSU, who's a good team, not fantastic, but they didn't just lose by 3, lost by 20. That's kind of a lot. And then they have, obviously, depends how much they lose to Bama. I think they're going to lose badly to Bama because Bama very good. So that's 2 losses, right? Even if they are pretty quality losses. And then Michigan is the argument in front of it. I don't see how they get in. I don't think they should even be sniffing it because they lost to Ohio State and Notre Dame. That's, again, 2 quality losses. But Ohio State, they didn't just lose by 3, they lost by 23. All right.
And they gave up 62 points.
They gave up 60 defense. Can you imagine what Alabama's going to do to that defense then? Yeah. They also lost to Notre Dame by 7. That's a quality loss. That's a respectable loss. But you can't lose by 23 and then expect again. So I take all those teams out. And especially if Michigan, I don't think they should be out of UCF for one. Georgia loses, Oklahoma loses, Ohio State loses. I don't think it should even be in doubt. They should be.
No, I agree with you there, but I just don't think it's ever going to happen because the college football playoff loves its ratings. They love, like I said, they love their star players. They love their blue blood programs. If all 3 of those teams lose, they're either going to choose one of those 3 teams to make it in that final 4 spot.
Think it'd be Michigan?
No, I'm talking about the 3 teams that have the conference championship.
How do you pick them after they just lost?
I don't know. That's what I mean. Logically, as fans, we think, yeah, that'd make no sense. But the college football playoff isn't just about the game; it's about making money off of the game. So you put in a team like UCF in the 4th spot to play Alabama, that wouldn't get nearly the ratings out of Michigan versus Alabama.
I actually believe a lot of people would watch that because a lot of people hate both teams. I like UCF, but a lot of people despise UCF right now. They want them to lose really badly.
Yeah, and I can understand that, and also like the underdog argument. A lot of people like that, but to a casual fan, someone who doesn't really watch college football until the playoff, and there are a lot of people out there who don't do that until like the playoff. They see UCF versus Alabama. They don't even know. They haven't heard anything about UCF this year because they're a small school. They see Michigan and Alabama and Ohio State, Oklahoma, Georgia in the headlines all year long, right? So that they would probably be more inclined to tune into one of those games than they would a UCF versus Alabama match. Even though to us fans, we'd love to have a UCF versus Alabama 1-4 game, but to a casual fan, they might not be as interested because they see the 3 letters UCF and they're like, what does that even stand for? So that's my argument on it. I don't think there's any way that UCF gets in, even if those 3 teams lose. And if all 3 of them lose, they're either going to pick one of those 3 losers to be the number 4 seed, or they're going to pick Michigan, who is currently ahead of UCF at the 7th spot.
So, You look at last year. You look at Alabama barely squeaked in. I don't think they should have been in. Do you think they should have been last year, or do you think it should have been Ohio State?
Alabama?
Yeah.
No, it shouldn't have been Alabama last year. It should have been Ohio State.
So you look at it. I don't think it should have been, but you could make. I don't see it. I disagree with it, but you could make an argument for Alabama, and it was reasonable, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? This year, you look at Ohio State. I mean, they lost by 29 to a very bad team, or very less than average team. Oklahoma, if they lose, that's 2 losses to the same team, and they just lost too. It's like they started 0-2 and then won the next whatever games, and then again won the Big 12 championship, right? You look at, Georgia is a 4 seed right now. It'd be like Wisconsin last year, the 4 seed, when you get in, but then you have to take them out because they lost. How do you keep them after they lose? And then Michigan, they're not playing. You look at Alabama last year, and they still played really well. They still destroyed their cupcake schedule like they should have. They didn't have any close games, right? And that was their first loss against Auburn, all right? Again, I'm not defending Bama because they shouldn't have been in, but they had a lot better argument than Michigan does this year because they lost before a battle to get into the conference championship, when Bama and Auburn were in there last year, right? But they just don't have they didn't destroy teams by 20 like Alabama did last year. I don't see an argument for any of those teams other than UCF. If all of them lose, I'm saying.
And like I said, I agree with you. I just don't think that the college football playoff committee wants to have UCF in. I mean, they've always hated
I know, but I don't see how they, when they announced the playoffs, they talked to the head of the committee guy, like Kirkstreet and Reese Davis, and all them talked to him and asked him how did this team get in over them? They had an actual argument that they could bullshit kind of with Bama. They can't do that this year. I don't see how they can make a really reasonable argument to say it. They can't just throw teams in and then just shut up about it. They have to talk about it and explain why that team got it.
They can throw out the resume argument that UCF only has 1 win over.
I don't think it's as good though.
I mean, it might not be as good, but that's what they're going to say if they leave them out. So that's what I'm just saying.
So what I think it's going to be, or what I think it should be, if what I said. So I said Ohio State's going to beat Northwestern. Oklahoma's going to lose to Texas. Georgia's going to lose to Bama. And then again, Michigan doesn't play. So I'd have 1 Bama, 2 Clemson, 3 Notre Dame because again they have an off week, which is stupid. And then 4 UCF, 5 Ohio State, and then 6 Michigan. So that would be my final one.
I'd agree with that. That's probably what I would say as well. Like I said, I don't think that there's any way the college football player was going to let that school in. So, especially with losing Mackenzie Milton, who had 2,600 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 6 picks.
But their backup's not a joke.
I know. I'm just saying, I knew who Mackenzie Milton was before he got injured, but nobody knows who this backup guy is. It's name recognition. The Alabama's got Tua and Jalen Hurts and Our third topic: should the Lakers be concerned about their 11-9 start?
No, not even a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree with that. No, not at all. 2 reasons why they shouldn't be concerned about that. The Western Conference, outside of Golden State and Denver, kind of sucks. I mean, there's not really that many good teams.
Very
a lot of the
average,
teams,
500.
It's very average. Portland is kind of. I'm sure Portland will finish with around 50 wins, but Portland has never really been a threat in the playoffs.
I'd say Denver and OKC
I'm still not sold on even OKC. I mean, they just kind of don't strike me as a team that's going to challenge LeBron in a 7-game series. So, and another reason why LeBron James. I mean, LeBron James is the best player in the NBA of all time, by the way. So, I just don't really see any way that they're not going to finish in the top 5 or so.
Oh yeah, like Jado said, LeBron's the GOAT. He's just let him get comfortable. He's only been there for 20 games. You look at Cleveland. He's been there. He was there for a few years before. He's not 100% comfortable with them. And the Lakers are a lot better team, with Lonzo and Ingram and all of them. They're a lot better team than what they had in Cleveland in 07, where he's up into the finals, and 17, where he's up into the finals. I still think the Lakers are gonna finish the top 4 in the West because, like you said, a lot of them are average or barely above 500 teams. Honestly. I think they're going to get home court. And I think the top 4, when it's all said and done, in the West, Golden State, Denver. I'm really high on Denver right now. Lakers, and then OKC finishing 4th.
Yeah, and to add to the point of LeBron, that the Lakers are a better team. It's pretty obvious that LeBron right now is the best player in all of the NBA because he took a team that right now is 4-16 and last in the East. this year to the NBA Finals last year.
No team, no player in sports history can do what LeBron doesn't carry.
Aaron Rodgers, I'd say.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw what he did in 2016 with that awful team. But you know, I mean, like there hasn't even really been any major roster turnover. I mean, it's the same team. It's the exact same team
Cavs?
without LeBron. Yeah, they're the exact same team, and they're 4-16 now without LeBron. But with LeBron, they're a team in the NBA Finals. So that just speaks volumes on how valuable this guy is. And like, if you're really going to get that worked up over the first 20 games of an 82-game schedule, like, I mean, it's obvious that they're still going to finish with a great record and they're still going to make the postseason. They're just going through the trials and tribulations of having a new team. LeBron is, and they're all still trying to figure each other out and mesh. There is one area of concern I have. Their three-point shooting is not very good this year. They don't have a lot of great shooters. They're only shooting 34% from behind the arc as a team, which is 21st in the NBA. But that's nothing that a February trade can't figure out. So they're going to be just fine as well. And I've seen what this guy can do. I mean, he's like the basketball version of Aaron Rodgers. At any moment, he can flip it into another gear and just start demolishing you. We saw it last playoffs in the Eastern Conference. So I can guarantee you that we will see it at some point this year and flip that switch.
Yeah, you also have to assume like Lonzo and Ingram and all those younger guys are going to get better because they have a lot of veterans on there like Rondo and obviously LeBron to help them out.
Yeah, it's progression. They'll get better and better. So.
Yeah. And then once they get in the playoffs, LeBron is just a different player, and he's gonna. I'm gonna guarantee right now. I believe the Lakers will at least get to Western Conference Finals, at least to probably against Golden State.
Our fourth and final topic for today: are the Bucks the best team in the Eastern Conference this year?
As of right now, on late November, I believe the Raptors are the best team in the East. But when it's all said and done, or even a couple weeks from now, I think the Bucks will be the best team in the East.
I think they're the best team in the East right now, and I think that they're going to further that gap as the season goes along. In fact, I think by February they're going to have far and away the best record in the Eastern Conference. They are a team that still hasn't found themselves, still hasn't gelled in the system. They've looked at times like there's a ton of potential, and they've blown out some really good teams, but I still don't think they've reached their fullest potential, and when they're finally at that, later in the season, they're going to be an unstoppable force in the Eastern Conference.
I mean, you look at the Raptors have 4 losses, the Bucks have 5. That's not a huge difference, obviously. Also, the Bucks did beat the Raptors head-to-head. Again, the Bucks didn't have Giannis, but the Raptors didn't have Kawhi. And I'm not saying like the Raptors are up here and the Bucks are right here. Like it's really, really close. And I think the Bucks will pass them, like I said. But honestly, the thing that changed my mind is the loss to the Suns at home. You can't not lose to a 4-17 team at home. You know, maybe in Phoenix it can happen, but you have to defend home court. I get you're going to lose to the best of the best teams, but you cannot lose to the worst team in the NBA at home. That changed my mind on that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's the NBA. It's a week-to-week thing. I mean, you still look at the averages. I mean, the Bucks are averaging 121 points a game through 20 games. They're fifth in the league. That's the 5th mark in the league. They're 3rd in total rebounding, which is a huge upgrade over last year where they were dead last. They're 5th in assists, 1st in 3-point attempts and 3-point makes, and 1st in 2-point percentage. They're a team that can beat you from behind the arc and beat you in the paint. Like if they're not shooting the ball well, they can get in the paint and just manhandle you. I mean, it's like insane. Like a night where the Bucks shoot like 20 or 30% from behind the arc, they're probably going to score like 60 or 70 points in the paint that night because they're just that dynamic. They're so long, they're so big, and they can shoot the 3, and they have a coach that finally understands how to make the most of all their talents. So right now, I think, though, that the Bucks are the best team in the Eastern Conference. And the Eastern Conference is tough, by the way, but the thing that really sells it for me, for the Bucks being better than the Raptors this year, is that they have the best player in the conference by far, and that will give them an automatic advantage over any other team at this point. Giannis is better than Embiid, he's better than Kawhi. Those are the only 2 players that even are giving him competition right now. And you can make an argument for Kyrie, but Kyrie doesn't play defense, so no. I mean, like it's not really a contest in my eyes.
Yeah, you gotta play both sides of the ball to be considered one of the best. In my opinion.
And the Raptors, I mean, like I agree they're really close right now, but the Bucks did beat the Raptors, and both of their star players were out. And I think Giannis is a better player than Kawhi, so. Even though those offset, I still think if they both played that night, the Bucks would have had a similar result.
And also, kind of helping you right here. The Bucks didn't just beat them by 2; they beat them by like 20 plus.
They destroyed
them.
It was wild. I've never seen. Yeah.
Yeah, and you look at the Raptors' losses. I mean, you got Utah, who was a 5-win team. You got the Bucks, obviously. You got the Pelicans, 5-win team. You got the Celtics, 5-win team. Like I said, though, if the Bucks were to beat the Suns, I think I'd choose the Bucks. I know, like, anyone can lose anyone in the NBA. I get that, but like, it's like that close. Like, it's not far.
And also the fact that anybody else like currently competing for that title right now, best in the East with the Bucks, they beat the Sixers and they only lost to the Celtics by like 4, and the Celtics are a 500 team right now. They're 11-10, and they wiped the floor with the Sixers and the Pacers. I think they beat them both by at least double digits. So I mean, it really isn't a contest to me at this point between those teams. The Raptors and Bucks are really close right now, but I think that the Bucks are a better team overall, and I think that will show as the season goes along.
Yeah, another big one against the Blazers was a 43-point win, who at the time was the best team in the West, probably going to finish in the top 6 in the West. And then the Celtics lost, you have to remember, they lost by 4 in Boston, right? Mm-hmm. And then Boston shot, they made 24 threes? One shot NBA record?
Yep.
They aren't going to do that again.
Yeah, they had a historic shooting performance that night, and they only won by 4. And
no one was injured either, I don't believe, at least anyone big.
And for all intents and purposes, I mean, the Bucks probably should have won. I mean, I think they blew a few easy layups towards the end of that game too. So, yeah, I mean,
so like I said, I think the Bucks will be on top, and even a week from now. But as of right now, on whatever date it is, the 29th, 28th.
It's the 29th.
Okay, yeah. So really late November, I think the Raptors have the tiniest bit of an edge over it because they don't have a terrible loss like the Bucks do.
Alright guys, thanks for watching. That's all we have for you today. If this video does well, we're going to be doing this every single week on a week-to-week basis, and we'll have different topics for you guys every single week. So until next time, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to both of our channels, Brew Pack over there run by Ryan Wentland, and OberSports here run by me, Jacob Ober. So until next time, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
And if you guys have any ideas for topics, zoom down in the comments. We'd love to hear it. Maybe we'll probably get better at this later, and yeah, subscribe to me and him, and we'll see you in the next video.